Good morning, everyone. What's up, Nico? No, I really haven't been watching the World Cup. Not a big soccer fan. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. How did everyone do trading yesterday? So, right, yesterday, this is what the market looked like, right? We had this wedge, right? Higher lows, lower highs, move to the upside, right to this previous resistance. Okay. All right, this is SPY. Just remember this, right? What did I say, right? Rising wedge, breakdown in the pre-market, open up right in this region here. And I said, right, if this level breaks and it rejects, we're going to push down to this range right here. Right? I said this exact thing right here. Right? We hit play. Let's see what happens. Right? Look how, right? It hesitates above. Right? People are getting faked out to the upside. Pushes down to the low here. Pressure is to the downside right now. Why is pressure to the downside here? Right? We have this previous resistance. We also have a ton of resistances right here, right? Look how many times it rejected, right? It would take a ton of buying power to push through and push through here, okay? Right, but below, we have huge space to fill, right? We have all this room to run to the downside, right? That's why I took puts here. And then, right, market wasn't really moving, right? It was just hovering. So I took a look at the smaller time frame yesterday, right, and I charted this out. Right, we broke out above, we pulled back, we retested, and we broke this high here. This is where I sold. Sucks, it happens, but this is what I get for looking at a small time frame, right? I should have never looked at the 1 minute, right? Because if I was looking at this time frame, wouldn't have looked like anything, right? And then look what happened, right? I avoided my plan that I created. This is what happens when you deviate from the plan that you create. Right? It happens. You can't be perfect every single time. And it ends up pushing down right to the target, right? It ends up rejecting again and pushes right into the zone that I mentioned, right? Textbook play. Everyone should have caught it. I should have caught it. You know, it is what it is. You can't catch them all. Learn from our mistakes. Hopefully we don't do it again. Okay. Props on the spot play yesterday. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. You stay in the SPY puts long enough to make 40 bucks. All right, well, better than losing 40 bucks. So this is the setup that we have today. Let me turn this replay off. All right, so now we are right at this range here. We just have that move down yesterday, right, straight to the downside. What I'm looking at today is VIX. Look at this flag here on VIX. Look where also it's flagging, right? We have this previous support. Right, previous support now acting as a resistance, right? This region right here, very important level, right? Look at the higher time frame, right? If this breaks to the upside, SPY moves to the downside. If this breaks to the downside, SPY moves to the upside, right? We could totally see a bounce back up to this level right here around 399. If this breaks to the downside, SPY, right, next level below is going to be this level right here, 390, right? Previous resistance acted as a support. SPX put you sold was at 4 and then it went to 20. it's all hindsight, right? Like at the time it looked good, right? The play could have went down 50%, right? Not every time it's going to run like it did. So, right, remove that emotion. It is what it is, and we move on to the next setup. Forget yesterday ever happened, and now we just focus on today. Right, today's a new day, new plays. Create a plan and trade the plan. Don't get caught up in your emotions. Right, it's extremely difficult. It's the hardest part of trading. Do not get caught up in emotions. Right, the chart is easy. Everyone could chart, but working around the chart, right, with your emotions and, you know, dealing with, you know, seeing red and green on an option contract is the most difficult part. Okay. So VIX, right? Great flag. Take a look at the higher time frame here on VIX. Right, we have multiple rejections across this top trend line here. If this breaks out and we see a push over, let's see what this level is. If we see a push over 22.5, absolutely taking SPY puts. All right, so I'll even write it out just so. SPX puts over this level. Okay. And then if this level breaks, could even do SPX calls. Does this help if I write this out? I could do this more often. I could definitely write this more often if that helps. Let me know. All right, these are the levels I'll be looking out for. Right, I have my alert set on both. Right before the level mentioned. And there you have it. Sweet. Awesome. Oh, what's up, Cedar? Right, so the thing is, right, if this breaks, right, we're going to see a run to the downside on VIX here, which means SPY would move to the upside. But then we might see some support here, right? So you want to see that igniting candle through the level always. Okay. All right, and what's an igniting candle? It's just a large candle through a resistance. Right, so for example, an igniting candle, right, this resistance right here, look how it rejects, and then boom, we see that huge candle through. And typically after that huge candle through, right, the igniting candle, you'll see continuation. Okay, so what I wanted to also look at is the inverse on SPY. All right, here's the inverse daily. All right, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3 bounce, 4. All right, we have a huge wedge to this level right here. All right, keep an eye on it. All right, this is back to the regular time frame. All right, huge wedge right to this level. If this breaks down, no bueno for SPY. All time frames, usually smaller time frame, you know, 10-15 minute. Okay, let's get into some setups here. So Amazon. All right, I was looking at this on the inverse time frame. All right, this is the inverse time frame on Amazon. All right, multiple levels of resistances, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? So then back to the regular chart. Right, so if this breaks down, could play puts to the next support below, which is 90.59. But then again, we need to watch SPY and VIX today. That's the most important sign. This is going to tell us, a lot today, along with SPY. If SPY were to break down, would you get a contract for a couple weeks out? Nah. I don't really like to play contracts for weeks out. I'd rather just buy shares or short commons. That way I don't have to be worried about theta. Right, which is why I pretty much only day trade options. Right, I don't want to have to worry about the theta. Right, if the move doesn't happen, I'm gonna sell it by the end of the day. So here's the Tesla chart. Right, we have this wedge break. Right, we have this little pattern here. It's kind of a broadening formation. Not really a fan of these. Right, we have this high here rejected 3 times, and then this low here bounced 3 times. Right, we're within that formation. This high would need to break in order for anything to happen, right, to the upside. But potentially going to see a move back down to 177.14, right, which would be this previous support, and this previous support. Let's see what else I like today. BA created a double top, right, previous resistance here at 179.3, and then it rejected again on Friday, right? And then we saw that move to the downside. This low did not hold, right? So we need to watch BA for 171. If this low gets taken out, we're going to push down to the next low, right, which is 168. Yeah, we can go over BABA, right? BABA's up 5.8% in pre-market. This wedge ended up working out perfect, right? C-blast level of, what was it, 76.15 or something? I think so. Right over this high is where he entered. Right, saw a nice move up to around 77.4. Ended up consolidating sideways right back down to that entry point. And now, right, up 5.7% here in pre-market. It's going to open up very nicely. Right, perfect wedge and breakout. Right, so this needs to hold over or push over 80.37 or just this region right here, right around 80. It needs to hold over 80. Let's make it an even number. Definitely needs to hold over 80, right? If this can push over 81, right, which is this previous level right here, we should see a push and a fill of this gap, right? 82, 83. You scalped that yesterday morning, but should have held a few to swing. So it's hard, right? Because if you entered here in the morning, right, you saw a huge spike to the upside, right? And then, right, it pulls back, and then you're thinking, oh, I should have sold up here, right? And then you end up selling down here, it moves back to the upside, you buy back in, right? This is a typical mindset of a newer trader, right? You buy back in, it moves back to the downside, you get stopped out. Right, and then it just consolidates the rest of the day, and by the end of the day, you're like, you know what, I'll just take the loss. Right, you need to create a plan, and you need to follow that plan every single time. Right, yesterday was a perfect example of what happens when you don't follow the plan. Right, I made that mistake. Right, you can't be perfect every single time, but you have to try and just follow your plan. Right, size small. Plan the trade and trade the plan. Everyone can please drop a like on the video. I'd appreciate it. We're at 36. Let's get it up to 100 plus. I'd appreciate that. Alright, so that's BABA. Let's take a look at what else we got here. Here's this cup and handle on Netflix. Cut that breakdown. Just this low is what, you know, what I would watch. Not really my favorite setup. Let's see what else we got. Look at this NVIDIA chart, right? Bounced, 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 right? Nice little wedge breakout, perfect wedge breakout, pulled back right to the low here again. Right, so this could potentially act as a flag again. Right, something like this. Right. Let's see if we got any other cleaner setups. Looking at my watch list here. Delete this. All right, so this is how I would draw this one. Kind of a wedge break. No, I never set a market order in the pre-market. I'll always wait and manually do it, because a lot of times option price needs to readjust when the market opens. Okay. Square. Can you show how you make your watch list using the dashboard? So one thing I'll do is I'll always, right, here's the dashboard. You refresh. All right, I'll always take a look at the snapshot. Right, see what the top names were, or if there's anything interesting. Or if there's any unusual names here or any unusual orders, I always like to take a look at that. And then I'll just look at these names here. All right, another thing I like to look for is, right, go to historical, or at the end of the day, right, I'll pull up the dashboard, right, and you'll just filter it, right, out of the money calls, out of the money puts, right, the largest orders of the day, expiring this week. Where's my date? Expiration here. No, not that. Here. Right, so expiring by the end of, you know, next week or so. And there was no orders. Right, that's really all I'll look for, or you can go to historical and do that. There's no orders over 250,000 though. See, over 100,000. Change this to sweep only. Take that off. All right, and then I'll just look at this. So these were the largest orders yesterday. All right, 11:30 expiration, 11:30 expiration, and 11:29. All right, so then I'll just take a look at these and see what the deal is. So at close, right, 390 put was taken, No, they sold their puts. Right, so these don't mean much, right? This is a SPY put, but it's bullish, right? Meaning they closed their SPY put. And this is a SPY call, bearish though, meaning they closed their call. Right, this is the only directional order. QQQ put, expiring today, 280. Right, a 280 strike, expiring today for 116,000. Right, so what this person is looking for, right, is a move to around 280 or so. Right, which would be a move right to this previous double bottom that we have. Right, absolutely possible today. Right, this is a directional order. This is something that, you know, oops, put off the screen. There we go. Right, this is what we like to look for, directional orders, right? Both the same color. Right, expires today, 280 put, it's out of the money, right? When they took it, it was 282, right? The price of QQQ. You can also click the ticker and look at it like this. Okay, what I just noticed looking at this, look at this flag on QQQ. That looks pretty damn good if you ask me. Let's go in the higher time frame here. Let's delete this. All right, look at this flag. Interesting. Right, it's sitting kind of right at this level here. Right, previous resistance, sitting right below it. Right, so if this level breaks down, right, 280.72, we should see a gap fill to the downside here. But if this level breaks to the upside, 289.46, we should see a breakout. So very clear looking chart, right? Good thing we took a look at the dashboard. All right, I only noticed that because I pulled up the chart here, and this was the first thing I saw. That looks really good, right? So, right, puts would be below this level here. And calls would be here. And this would be the target for puts, right? The first target, and the second target would be right the gap fill, 268, and then the price above, right, would be 293. Nice looking chart. I wonder if SPY looks like that. Let's delete this. Yeah, so SPY doesn't look as good. Right, it's creating these higher lows, and it's also kind of creating, right, this top here, right, this double top region right next to this level here. Right, we had a gap to be filled and we couldn't fill it. Right, we rejected. Right, this was the gap to be filled. Right, so this previous resistance acted as a resistance once, acted as a resistance again. So this actually looks really good for a push to the downside. Interesting. Whoops, just hit my microphone. Sorry about that. This does look good for a push to the downside. I don't like anything. Okay, so now taking a look at this. All right, I'm not going to play calls unless we break this 403.1 level. right? There's two ways to play this, okay? So before market opens, let's do it quickly, right? So we're at support, right? You could take calls here with a tight stop loss below, and if it creates a new low, right, you exit because it's going to push to the downside, right? So great risk to reward for calls, right? Because, right, you enter here, your stop loss is below, and your price target is that double, triple top up here, right? Or, right, you wait and see if we get the pullback, right, and you take puts, and your price target's down here, and your stop loss is, you know, right in the mid region of this flag. There's two ways to trade it. You need to look at VIX and, you know, the dashboard. That's why there's multiple signs of confirmation, right? You need to see what orders come through, and how the market reacts around those levels, right? There's no way of knowing where it's going to go, right? I have no idea what's going to happen today. No one knows what's going to happen today, right? But when you create a plan, you could trade that plan, and it gives you a certain risk to reward, and it gives you a certain probability, right? That's what trading's about. No one knows what's going to happen. There's no, you know, magic thing to look at. You just need to, you know, play the levels, right? If the market does this, you do that. So good thing we just looked at that. Thank you, Santos Roman. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Looks very good. Sweet. So market's about to open in 3 minutes. Let's switch over to the Discord and go have a conversation. I'll see you there.